I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Been better, been worse. You know how it goes.
So, what did you want to do? I don't really have a preference.
There's some stuff to talk about. Anybody listening, this is Jetpack Swords. This will be our 62nd episode. Super cool game podcast. I'm Greg. Last week I was joined by James, and this week I'm joined by Packy, but no James. Just swapping off. Um, but yeah, so probably keep this one kind of short because I got some raid to do. I got some heroic for rock to down to be ahead of the curve. You know how it goes.
This
Um,
will be the week.
I was curious, have you played more Lego Fortnite?
Since we played now, just that little bit. We were talking about it. Like, I like it. It's a really pretty game. I think a new generation of kids who will not be introduced to Minecraft will instead be introduced to that, and they will like it as a dumbed down version of Minecraft, which is, I mean, that's a good thing.
It's pretty accurate.
It's accessible.
Yeah,
It's free. I think it's really cool that like just a straight up good single player experience out there is free.
yeah, that's fair. Single or optionally co-op too, right?
True, yeah.
Obviously.
But just like something that
Uh,
isn't like a free to play experience that, from everything that I can tell, is just a well made game that is incorporated into a larger free to play monetized game. But like the monetization doesn't show for a game that like presumably will be played by 8, 9, and 10-year olds.
I think the only reason it doesn't show is just because you are you're only playing with your four friends, right? So like in normal Fortnite, you're playing with hundreds of people. You have the pre-lobby. You see all these cool skins. You're like, oh my god, I want that skin. Oh my god, I want that dance. Right? And like in this, if you just go straight to Lego Fortnite, right? Like the shop is there and you can like kind of see it, but like you're gonna be in that game for a longer period of time, more likely. And then B, yeah, like you're not exposed to hundreds of people each game that are, flashing skids in your face. So like the
Yeah,
monetization is definitely there, but it's very easy to ignore it on the main menu and just go straight into, you know, your world.
exactly. Like if you like I have it on PC, and if you link from Lego Fortnite, like it just fires you up in the launch screen for Lego Fortnite. You select your world and you go. You never have to like even see the initial banners for like their new battle pass and all that stuff. Like it's kind of a
Ooh,
shortcut past
yeah,
that.
that's very nice. Yeah.
So that
Although
experience exists,
people are going there through Fortnite. Let's be real.
1000%. I love, well, love is not the right word. I think it's really interesting they're doing that whole like
Um,
the Fortnite launcher. Sorry, I just noticed we're gonna have to use the Skype recording because my audio is not. I don't know why it's not picking up. I
it's
just see a
okay.
flat line in my Audacity.
I don't have as much free time as I'd like in life, and so recently I've just been using the Skype recording and shoving it through Adobe, and Adobe's been doing AI shit to it that, quite frankly, doesn't always make it sound better, but I don't have the time to actually edit them normally, anyways. So,
Plus AI tools. Have you played a game yet that incorporates AI, like one of those little text adventures
the
where the AI is
finals.
responding? Oh, the finals does
Um,
that? Is there
well,
something
no,
else
so
AI is
sorry.
doing?
So the finals,
Or is it shooting?
it is a shooter. It's free to play shooter. It's quite good. We'll talk about it in a little bit. The announcers in it, like the non-main announcer, like this team is gained the lead, like that type announcer, is all the voices for it were generative AI.
Interesting.
At
That's
least I'm like 99% sure. I could be wrong, but like I'm pretty sure.
especially for announcers, though. For really short voice lines, that makes so much sense. Like, why pay somebody to do it when you can just recreate those pretty iconic caster voice lines pretty easily? It's like
Uh,
sampling a bunch of
yeah,
actors
I
from the
just
50s.
Googled it to confirm, and sure enough, and it's funny too, because like I just, type in finals AI announcers, and the first thing is like the finals slammed for using terrible AI announcers. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, they're not terrible. They're pretty fucking fine. If someone didn't tell you beforehand that it was, AI generated, you probably wouldn't notice because you're in the middle of playing the fucking game and you're not paying that much attention to it. They're really not terrible. They're perfectly acceptable.
I was gonna say it's super different when what they are doing, which is like AI generating a voice and then probably tweaking it and smoothing it and all that stuff, as opposed to like whatever raw what you usually see in the AI consumer technology, where it's just text to voice that's read right there with no filter, like just rendered right in front of you, and that's pretty rough coming out. Having not heard one of those lines, I assume it's you can probably tell, but not much.
If you were listening to it by itself and like not in the context of a game, like you weren't focusing on the game or whatever like that, yeah,
So
like it sounds a little weird, right? But like you're in the middle of the game, you're running around, you're getting shot at, you're shooting at people, you're like throwing canisters, you're grappling places, like you're taking lifts, like a building's coming down on you because an orbital laser like shot the building and the building like collapsed. Like you're not noticing the announcer. Like it's
yeah,
in my opinion, a very reasonable thing to do. And then obviously the standard thing is like, well, what about voice actors? And we're about to seriously diverge from video games. So I'm very sorry, everybody.
we do it so
Um,
regularly. Your listeners
Technology is
deserve it.
supposed to take your job. That is a good thing. It is not a bad thing if technology takes your job. It is a bad thing if technology takes your job and then society as a whole is not set up to take care of the people whose jobs were automated by technology. It is a very good thing that technology is taking jobs. That is how it has worked for hundreds of years since the Industrial Revolution, right? Like, we employed less people to make clothes because we have fucking textile mills to produce clothes in mass. It is a very good thing that technology is improving and taking jobs. The very bad thing is the fact that people are going to be fucked because you have to have a job in our
Yeah.
society.
I mean, this has happened
Um,
many, many times. I actually studied this. What people are reasonably afraid of is that there is a period of friction during that turnover where like
and we
those
are
jobs are going
approaching it.
away. It's already happening. And those jobs go away, and then it takes time for like new industries to kind of rise and then offer new opportunities for people to get involved in. Um, you can read far more eloquent explanations of this when you look at when farming went industrial. Farming used to be 48% or something crazy of like jobs in the US, and now it's down to 1.5. And that happened in a very, very short period of time. Anyway, interesting read if you're looking for a
That
good
is,
book.
I'm gonna go. I'm curious. I'm gonna go read about that specific example because yeah, that's an excellent example. And like, no one. I mean, maybe some of the farmers were complaining, but like, in general, the
Everybody was
mass
complaining.
public was not fucking complaining that like there was suddenly more food and it was cheaper, right?
No,
Like,
no, 1,000% people were complaining against industrial machinery as a whole. I mean, the classic example of this that everybody's seen in like a really fun way is the man versus machine and laying down railroad track. Like I can't remember the name of the tall tale hero, but it's essentially like a guy lays railroad track versus a machine that did it automatically in this big competition, and the man wins. But like just barely. And of course now that job is completely outstripped. But it was just representative of like I think this happened a lot with factory work too, as we like machines that drive factories also came about and like handmade stuff kind of fell. Artisanry and apprenticeships started to go away. Um, People usually again for brief periods of time like now, like very quickly we once it is replaced, we will just and people will be very, very happy
yeah,
with the new world and those new opportunities will be there and
but
use knowledge
and it
workers.
sucks. That this like middle period sucks. Like it just
Big
fucking
time.
blows. And like I appreciate that, but I also get frustrated when people blame technology and think we shouldn't progress. And I'm like, no, that's dumb. Like we should
Yeah.
progress. We should continue to progress. But like you said, we should adapt and make sure that you know all the people who are losing their jobs because of this are taken care of, right? Like whether that be some other thing that we're not going to talk into options for job automation replacement. We ain't
Yeah.
talking about that shit here.
Or a social safety
But
net. That's
finals.
all. Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the finals.
Yeah, finals uses some AI announcers. It's free to play. It's a first person shooter, and I think like the big, I don't want to say gimmick, but like the big gimmick is the destruction in the game. Like is actually good, right? Like multiple games at this point have done, various destructible things, whether
Well, I
that
mean,
be
how could they really have improved on it after what Crackdown 3 did? I really feel like Crackdown 3 mastered it, and
like.
that maybe the finals like elaborated, did something a little bit, B tier of that.
So, did you ever play the Crackdown 3 multiplayer mode that was actually like
Not
cloud driven destruction or whatever?
because you play it and like specifically the shooting was like really it was like auto lock, right?
Yeah. Um, and when because you just spend all your time like bouncing around and like doing like you're an overpowered fucking like Crackdown dude. Like, so yeah, auto lock is the only way you're gonna hit people. The destruction in it was cool. I mean, it was just also like extremely fucking shallow in a way. Like everything
It's
besides the destruction was
inconsequential.
extremely shallow. Yeah, right. Whereas the finals is like I mentioned it earlier, like you can be like capturing a point or something, or like capturing a vault to like go then cash out or something, and like waiting for another team to come and stop you or whatever, and then like an orbital laser will come and it will literally like blast the entire fucking building and the building will collapse on you, right? And like it actually changes like the way you get around the thing, and like you can just intentionally destroy buildings to like block off easy access paths to the place you're going. Like it's just they did destructible environments very well. Um and like that's definitely like the thing. And I mean like the game feels and plays well aside from that too, right? Like but not well enough that if it wasn't for the destruction I would like go out of my way to play it if that makes sense. Um, but like it's cool. Like the main game mode is like 3v3v3, which also I like. I like more than two teams in a thing. I just find that enjoyable, but still teams, right? Like I don't like free for all games. Like I really like
Yeah.
they really every time I like played free for all in a shooter, which I do occasionally for some stupid reason. I don't know why, but I do it. Um, I don't like it ever. It's really stressful. It's extremely stressful. Um,
You want a
and
safe place. You want to be able to play off of something that's safe. And free for all, you are never intentionally so, never safe.
100%. You always have to watch your back, right? Like whereas, and when you have a team, you can, assume that because my teammate is behind me, I'm not going to get shot in the back, right? Like it just changes the way you play, obviously. That being said, I love like Halo used to do like maybe in Reach days did like 2v2v2, I think. And like I always enjoyed that. But yeah, so I like the 3v3 aspect of it. I like having three teams. And then just like there's like a medium light or light medium heavy or like the three like types or classes or whatever, and like it changes like what guns you get and like how fast you move and stuff like that. Um, and then you can like so you pick a loadout. It's kind of a nice blend of like games where you pick your loadout at the start of the game and that's it, and you can change everything willy nilly in the middle of the round. It's you pick a loadout and you pick reserves, and so then like when you die, you can change to your reserves, but that's it. You can't like access everything available to you, but you have like basically two sets going into the match. It's like it's kind of a nice blend of like this is probably going to play, but like I want to have this in my back pocket in case we need to switch up our play style or something. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's good. If you like shooters, I would definitely recommend playing the finals, just or at least just giving it a go. Um, it's like I said, it's free to play, which is nice, and it's just beautiful. It runs well. You do have to make an account because everything requires you to make an account, but it was the easiest, most seamless make a third party account I have seen in a very, very long time because it's basically like it basically just makes a shadow account for you behind the scenes linked to whatever profile or whatever platform you're playing on, and you can choose to like do the whole account thing and like make a password and blah 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 all that crap, but if you want to you just like click A twice and you're in, and like it just made a shadow account for you, so like
I feel like that used to be the norm,
uh
and we have recently gotten away from that. Where now we're much more, all right, you got to set up you have to be using it through your email, and you have to set up a unique password for this. I feel like
yeah
there's
it's so
people in common, like Ubisoft and stuff used to do when you would do their thing and be like, all right, you need a Ubisoft thing account, but trust me, you're just gonna mash the A button, and then you're gonna work. Promise
yeah
to take
well
back.
when it used to be that like account linking with third party things has been around for like 10 or 15 years,
Oh,
like a
yeah,
long fucking
forever.
time at this point. But like it was like, oh, do this and like get a cosmetic or some shit. And now it's do it or you can't fucking play the game. Like
Also very true.
it's just that's the big difference, which is why it's so annoying. Like it's literally it used to be completely optional in most of the cases. Like it was there and it was like tucked away
There
in
were
the
games that
start
would
menu.
still
Like
there are definitely games that would still make it annoying. They'd like prompt you every time, but you could cancel out of the option and just get around it.
yeah.
You play as like a guest or whatever. But yeah,
But
as
now
long
it's you literally can't play without it. And then like the like further frustration, like extent of that is um like with like local play, there are a number of games that like you can't play. It used to be like you just added like you sign in and then like your friend comes over and they grab a controller and just, sign in as a guest, right? So, blah blah blue blue and blah blah blue blue one, right? And then you always, know to stomp on them because they're playing split screen and so they're gonna play like shit in the game. Um, but
so true.
a lot of time it
Anyone with
really
that
fucking
parenthesis
is.
one parenthesis was dead.
Like every fucking time. Um, but now it's so annoying because like a lot of games require you to be signed in with either, in the worst case, a actual account linked to a third party account, right? Like, and I think that is the case for at least some of Fortnite, if not all of Fortnite. Like, you have to be signed in to an account on that platform, and that account has to be linked to an Epic account, right? And like, I think Halo's Infinite's the same way. Like, you cannot play as a guest split screen on Halo Infinite. Like, you have to sign into a Microsoft account. And like, as a software engineer, I totally understand why these things are. It's because it makes everything way fucking easier. Um, but fuck, it's so annoying. Like, it's so annoying as a consumer. I just hate it.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it has to do with like hosting your own servers and stuff like that. So it makes sense they have to. Actually just had to
Like
do that.
all these
So
things are they're storing their own state, they're storing their own data, and so it's really easy if you have a one-to-one relationship that you can count on, for a fact like this person exists, right? And this account and this ID.
yeah. And microtransactions.
Oh man,
That
it's way easier to sell people shit.
God, Ubisoft is friggin' egregious. Like that was my I started playing games again. Whatever
Yeah,
since the
Far Cry
last time we
6.
did this. Yeah, Far Cry 6 into Far Cry I started Far Cry 5 again. Because I liked 6 so much, which is insane because everybody else hated it so much. For I think very understandable reasons. They like really stripped a lot of the soul out of it. I mentioned the Far Cry games to you, and it was like they fixed the one complaint, which is the gunplay has been really bad. Like they're pursuing realism, but ultimately it just feels bad to whiff shots when other enemies laser you from a million years away.
Ooh,
That
that
now feels
and
way
that's
better.
the real problem, right? Is like trying to do both of those things is what makes it shitty. Like it's one thing
Yeah,
if like your gun is shit, but everybody's gun is shit. But if your gun is shit and like you still get lasered from across the fucking world, like that is so infuriating.
yeah. There's nothing worse than you're having a assault rifle duel with two people, and you both are using a weapon that you know have iron sights. You're gonna go pick up their weapon, and it has iron sights on it. And yeah, they are just like they're crouching in a bush 300 meters away from you and just hitting like 60% of their shots and you can't even see them. You know where the bullets are coming from, but you cannot like make eye contact with them and you're like behind cover. It's like, oh my God, what are we doing? But it's funny, especially going back and touching 5 again. Actually before I did that, I did one of the classics where I re-downloaded 4. Um which is really, really good. And mainly what I was trying to prove was I think the biggest complaint is, well, I think so much of the gameplay got better. They stripped out a lot of the extra story. And most importantly to these, like Far Cry games are defined by their big villain. They make, the entire story centers around them. They're always on the cover and they make a very big deal out of developing these characters. And recently they pursued like, they got Gus Fring from Breaking Bad to be their big actor. Like they're very big on making that good. Um, and the problem was it's easily the worst of like the past 4 games
Yeah.
from 3, like 3, 4, and 5 have like iconic, not as much 4, but 3, 4, and 5 have like really iconic villains. Um, in 6, they just fumble it with the biggest name they ever got for a villain.
I was gonna say like it's so because like he is such a good villain, right? Like I mean he was
Yeah,
shit they cast him in Mandalorian as dude that I can't remember his fucking name of, but like
can't remember either. He's as good in that. In The
he killed.
Boys, he's really good when he plays the CEO
Mhm.
because that's like his role. Like he truly is. I wish I knew his name. But he's just the classic pragmatic villain that just doesn't fit. No, I don't think. I think it's fine not to know actor names. Um, he they he plays, and they clearly cast this like he plays a very pragmatic but evil dictator, um, of a small made up Latin dictatorship country, island country. And so you're going about freeing it, but like it's all he doesn't get that much screen time. I think probably in part because I assume, cost a ton of money, and they got a couple voice lines out of him. But it's really interesting how they constructed putting him in a bubble. Like you never gameplay wise ever interact with his character. Spoiler, minor spoiler. You would never like he's never shooting. You never even see his character model when you are in control of your character. You purely see him through cutscenes, which is I think in part and you don't see it nearly as much of him as you see the other characters. Nor do I think he spends as much time getting characterized by the more minor characters like you have in the other games. He's just not. Yeah, so he just doesn't end up delivering. And also, I think the biggest thing is it's their first time of these. Like Far Cry 3 is really where these big iconic villains started, and then 4 and 5. He's the first one who they do not try to play in any way as mentally disturbed. Um, which in a game like Far Cry, which plays so much of him,
He's
like just
just evil.
yeah, and he's trying to do it in like the way again, be pragmatic, like do things that are best for him, and he doesn't care about the well-being of other people. But do what's best for him. Importantly, his son. That's like the big difference is that now it's this kind of like this dictator who's preparing his son to fulfill the role like his father prepared him. And that's like most of their story is like talking about his experience growing up under his father when his father was a dictator, and his father got ousted by rebels, and then like he, has seen those problems and is now like trying to impart this knowledge to his son and like prepare his son for this very difficult role.
Mhm.
And so, and again, he's trying to teach him how to be smart about it and all of this, but it just doesn't fit with like Far Cry's motivations to do all the different little combat missions. Like you got to justify murdering all these people, and so it doesn't really his pragmatism doesn't fit with what's actually happening in his country, right? Like he's trying to present himself as like more refined and all that, but in the end, it's just like all the cartoonish villainy happening around him doesn't sell that. Um, it's not like the smooth and professional operation of Gus Fring's meth empire, or how the boys' corporate side works, like where it all feels very controlled and refined, just like he is, like he's imparted that onto his organization. Whereas like you don't get that vibe at all. And again, he just doesn't feel like very impactful or present. So anyway, long story short, he just wasn't as good, but I can't recommend enough people play the game. Because if you just took the stories of the other games and put it into this one, like the action gameplay is so much better. They really refined it in a way. They made stealth both feel better, but also as someone who despises stealth in most games,
Yeah.
it is why so I loved it in this game and I really thought it was good. Again, because they made it more gunplay focused and more like ad hoc. Like they really kind of took the guerrilla warfare. You're a guerrilla throughout the game, and they're very focused on that, and much less like sit with your binoculars for several minutes and like figure out the exact path you have to get through here without getting spotted, and like kind of just being able to wing it in any situation and quickly react. The entire game is set up around you being able to improvise and just kind of run at stuff. For your less patient gamers nowadays. But they did, quote unquote, refine the gameplay to be able to accomplish that, which means taking out some of the crazier options and goofier outposts you used to have to replace them with more generic outfits that, you know, where that can work, where you can run in and truly stealth it or action play it from any angle. And that always will work if you play it correctly. But I did go back and play 4, trying to like see those big villains again and see their big moments. And even within the first hour of both 4 and 5, it's like, yep, I just like the story of these games better. They're more like, as someone who often will skip cutscenes of games where I think it's bad, like I never want to skip Far Cry's any of their major character scenes, except for the good guys. The good guys are often very boring. Um, The villains are always
Villains
really,
in
really good.
general make, interesting characters, right? Like more interesting characters than heroes, right?
Yeah. And it just action gameplay. If it's more to like have that interaction with those kind of people, then the good guys are often very like kumbaya. But I don't know. It doesn't have much impact. They're definitely like good, fun characters that we like, allies that we like. But yeah, and it just in Far Cry in general, I think they just do villains better because you interact with them more. Well,
Well, I think when the protagonists really shine is when there's not a villain, or when it's an amorphous villain, right? Like
yeah,
I'm thinking like I don't know. Let's go with Plague Tale. I really like Plague Tale. It's been on my mind, right? Like you're not like the rats are fucking rats, right? Like that's not like that's the villain of the game, right? So like that's not interesting. And so as a result, like that's when like games like that is when the main characters truly shine as opposed to the villain. That's obviously
I also think of like little slice of life games where we just get like more. I think those good character vibes are often spent when you're spending a lot of time with those characters, kind of in their environment. I don't know. I think that can
yeah.
often because the characters you end up liking, I think, in action games are often the other psychopaths, like crazy wild people who would easily fit on the villain side, but happen to be aligned with you. Think of like, my God, Borderland. How can I forget Bruiser from Borderlands' name? He's like one of the classic favorites. A lot of those archetypes of characters, I think, are popular. But anyway, Far Cry, I never, and in 4, I never want to skip. Like, I really liked the opening monologue of Hagen Min, the villain from that game. But then right afterwards, it drops you into a lengthy stealth section that is easily failed and then takes you back to the beginning, and I quit. Instantly uninstalled it. Did make it 90 minutes into that game, even though, again, love Pagan Min. Think he's a great character. I literally whipped around. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna pull up the like a story summary of Far Cry 4, and I'm gonna play Crab Champions while I do that. A game with no story that is just a shooter.
Jesus Christ.
And so I've not done that yet. But I have done that with other games where I'm like, I like the idea of the story here, but I hate how the game plays. So I'm gonna go play a dumb roguelike that has no story and is constant action and just listen to the parts of this game that I like. I did that with Fear and Hunger. I think it's a really deeply interesting game that the gameplay and the imagery is just like horrifyingly bad. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna listen to other people talk about this game as opposed to actually play it. Well, I play other games that I like RimWorld. But yeah, I liked it. Again, I like.
Speaking of I don't know, you said something that made me think of it. Bopl Battle,
Oh my God,
super fun.
that was insane. That was so much fun. The best sell is we started Bopl Battle when I said I'm gonna get off. I don't want to play games anymore. And I was just done because we were also having audio issues that day. I was very done with the session, and then we start the demo, and it ends with us like me being the one to suggest we buy the game because I was like, "This is awesome. I want to play this a lot." I 100%. Sam was saying we're gonna play again this Saturday. 1,000% I'm down for that.
I say we
It's
we need to, because otherwise I'm just gonna do that nice old Steam refund.
no, at least I am intent. No, I don't think it'd be good. You need at least 3 players. 4 was a blast. Just whatever. We'll get 3 of us on it. I'm gonna spam recruit in the Discord. Like literally any human, you will enjoy this game, please. Yeah. So anybody listening, if you, it is
I wish that
no
they
value
had just
whatsoever
let
to single player game.
you do cross play, I guess if you want to call it, between the demo and the paid version. Like that would be
What's
nice,
up?
right? But I feel like what's going to end up happening is going to be like, hey, come try this game, and it'd be like, okay, well, let's end up playing the demo again so we can play with them. So like they can realize they like it and they do it right, and then it's just going to be like a bunch of going back and playing the demo.
Not if it's the 3 of us, because whoever we get to join, I will snap by them the full version because I like the
I
game
mean,
enough where I'll do it.
that's max then. Let's get a max.
Yeah. I mean, it'll literally be, that's a good idea. I'll let Max know that that's coming. Then we'll just ask you again, whoever will get on and be that 4th human so that we can play the full version. I will just buy them the full version because that is what I love about Steam. Steam makes getting other people games. So it's the default option is to get it for another person. But it's just very, very
No,
quick to be like, hey, we are playing this now. Like before you've even told them.
actually, ooh, you know what we should do? We should have only had one person bought the game. I mean, I'm not explicitly saying we should have only had one person bought the game, but like, we should have only had one person buy it. and then just do Steam
Um,
remote
no, 'cause
split
we did
screen
that
thing.
for fucking what was
All-Star
the other
Brawl.
fighter? All Star. It was so bad on All Star Brawl.
Yeah,
Connection
yeah.
was terrible.
So I wired in, so it'll be better. I don't know. I think well,
I don't think it was All
sorry.
Star Brawl. I don't think it was. I think it was. I blame Steam. I blame that feature for the bad connection.
No,
I
I
think
don't know.
that's
I think
worse
wired
than.
in it might be better. I mean, it'd be worth giving it a go. Also, the way I got there is I wonder actually if like I wonder if you can because they have a split screen local menu option. I wonder if you can combine that with online play, right? Like
Ooh, that'd be
two
interesting.
people locally play with two people online, and therefore like just one person does the Steam remote split screen thingy, right? That would be super cool. We should totally see if that's the thing, because then it's like literally anybody at all who's interested, like, hey, come just play this game, right?
It's a really good idea. Yeah, it'd be worth a try.
It's a feature that's super cool, and I feel like probably doesn't get utilized as much. It probably doesn't get utilized as much because it doesn't work well. Um, I mean, it'd probably work well like if I was doing it to like someone's house, two doors down instead of like halfway across the country.
Also, I think if
Right?
it
Like,
was like really good, this because the strategy you said where you can kind of have someone split screen with you and then go online or split screen and just have one person own the game. For like co-op type games, I feel like people would spam recommend that in those like subreddits and stuff like that, and I never hear about this feature, which makes me this is be a great cost saving measure, and people would use it if it was
like I
good.
feel like it has to just not work well. Is most likely
Exactly.
what it is.
Based on our one-time
I don't know.
experience,
Well, admittedly, if it's like a normal split screen thing, then like you are playing split screen, right? Like,
yeah,
whereas this is one of the games where it's the everybody, it's one screen with four controls playing on it locally, right? As opposed to split screen, right? So it's just
true.
local multiplayer, I guess is the better way to put it. Um, because yeah, no, like doing split screen when you only get half your screen, even though the other person's like all the way, halfway across the country, would be super fucking annoying. I'd be like, God damn it, this screen is so tiny. Why am I?
Why did I invite
Um,
you?
yeah, exactly. I had one last thing that I kind of
Sure.
wanted to
You have
mention.
to go.
Yeah, but other people are late, so it's all good. It's all kosher. Um, I was playing, my quote unquote New Year's resolution is to lose 10 pounds before Max's wedding, so that I am not embarrassingly fat, standing near him. But um, anyways, I hate losing weight. It's boring. It's awful. It's just not fun. I like eating. Eating's fun. Tastes good. Tastes delicious.
You surprised?
Fucking
Common,
love eating.
common attitude, actually.
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking crazy. Who'd have thunk it? Um, and so I'm trying to, just going back to VR. That's like the form of exercise that I find the least unenjoyable. I didn't say most enjoyable because I still don't like truly enjoy it all the time. Anyways, played some Beat Saber. I honestly just don't. I just don't like Beat Saber is okay, but it's just, in my opinion, as a rhythm game, as a music game, it's actually rather bad. Um, and so like I find it, I'm like, if I want to play a rhythm game, like why am I not playing Rock Band right now, right? Like and it's because like I'm not playing Beat Saber to play a rhythm game or a music game. I'm playing it to fucking lose weight, exercise, and it just like happens to be the next best thing. Anyways, um,
I do think like a rhythm games because of the pace of play. There's something about, and maybe I just not coordinated for it or whatever. Like flailing my arms in very precise movements very, very quickly just doesn't work as well for me as like even I like the dance pad games. I actually had the like one of the
yeah,
at-home versions growing up. Like loved those.
DDR.
DDR, yeah. And I wonder if that's still like. I'm sure there's a couple arcades out there, but that used to be all the rage. Like they used to be everywhere. Along with Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all those kind of games. Um, yeah, I do think while Beat Saber is really cool
The other
looking and as
thing I
fun as a
think
VR
is,
game.
I think the replacement for DDR is OSU. Um, I believe OSU is okay. Let me look it up. It's yeah, I don't know.
OSU
It looks like a
exclamation point.
game. Yeah, and it is
OSU.
I think basically for all intents and purposes the like current Oh, yeah, not Ohio State University. Sorry. Yeah. Um, but that's the like super common one because if you look at like custom song communities, like there'll be like people have like written things to like auto convert OSU mappings into like Beat Saber and other games, right? Just because there's so many OSU mappings.
Yeah. Oh yeah, now I remember this one because I've heard of it. I forget, dude. This is one of those games that I don't like playing it as much as I watch people who are sick at it playing it. It's just
Yeah.
mesmerizing how friggin' quick people are.
Um. Anyways, so we actually have a separate game on Switch. We have another game that's not Beat Saber on Switch. We bought it last year, and like I remember like playing it, enjoying it, but like I don't know, it just kind of dropped off for some reason or another. But the game is called Synth Riders, and it's very similar to Beat Saber. But instead of like slashing blocks, you are um well, there's doing one of multiple things, which is why the game is good because it has more variety. Like the basic is literally just you're moving your hands to where some notes are coming, and like it's either left hand, right hand, or there's some that like you have to do both hands, and then there's some where you start it with one hand, whenever hand you start it with that chain with, you have to finish it with that chain or with that hand. Um, and then there was like follow the wave type things, which actually like Beat Saber didn't have initially, but like it now does have like on the newer mappings, like you'll hit a note and you have to like follow that through and like hit another note off of it. Um, but I remember the reason we got it is because like a Beat Saber fucking blows in terms of so the way quest sharing works is it is I like to call it device focused instead of account focused. So like a device has a primary account on it as opposed to a account having a primary device. And what that means is that with our single quest in this household, um, my wife cannot play games I own on Quest. I can only play games she owns on Quest because it is technically her Quest and she's the admin account on that Quest. Um, anyways, then the follow up to this is Beat Saber DLC is not like doesn't work with sharing. Like she has DLC that she can play on her account. But when I play Beat Saber on that quest, I can't play the fucking DLC on it, which is extremely fucking frustrating. Anyways, Synth Rider DLC is supposedly like does work. You can share it, which is cool. And on top of that, like also they just like have better built-in custom song support than Beat Saber does, which is cool. And they have like a little more options in terms of like actually getting you to move a little more, which again, because I'm trying to do is lose weight. It's awesome. Anyways, the reason I mention this is because I wanted to give it a shout out. I played it last night, and they added a new update from the last time I played, and it's so fucking cool. It is a so anybody not like super following the VR space, so like Meta, who owns Facebook, owns Oculus, and they released Oculus Quest, obviously, or the Meta Quest now. Sorry, the Quest 2 had basically black and white pass-through cameras, right? So you can see the camera view when you have the headset on. Quest 3 has full color, low latency pass through. Like they're very much pushing for AR, which is the same thing Apple's doing with Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro is a VR headset, despite what they say. It is a VR headset that just has incredible screens and incredible cameras. And that's it, but it's a VR headset. Um, anyways, so they're making this big push for AR with the Quest 3. And so I launched up Synth Riders, and there's like new AR update. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I don't have a Quest 3, but I don't know, still just try this. And it's just cool. Like even with the black and white pass through, it's just fucking cool. You just like so you have your normal room boundary, right? But then on top of that, you map your walls and you like tell it like these are my walls or whatever, right? And then just like only like that section of the wall is like the notes coming through you. Like they like let's think of it as a portal, right? Like which honestly, like where the fuck is Portal VR? Portal VR is going to be amazing. Like Valve needs to get on that shit. You're welcome, Valve. You can have that one for free. Um, but like think of it just like as a portal on your wall where the notes are coming out of, and so you're fucking with it. Anyways, then like the really cool thing though is just like the like just seeing the rest of your room and your peripheral, and then also in the peripheral is like the notes come in and like the peripheral flashes, and it's like it perfectly blends. I don't want to say perfect because it's not perfect, but it very well blends. Like again, even with the black and white pass through, like the what you're seeing in your room and the like quote unquote portal or whatever on the wall like perfectly blends with like the flashing yellow or green or whatever the fuck it is. Like it's just it was super cool. I just wanted to give the game a shout out. I think Synth Riders is a great game. I actually think it's better than Beat Saber. Like I don't know, it's great. Also because they have like a thing. So like I said, the default is just like moving your hands to where the notes are. One of them is like a force thing, which is like you have to punch the notes, right? Like again, like good for like getting a little bit more exercise or workout in. Like that's a totally optional thing. Um, I don't know. It's just super cool. I would recommend Synth Riders if anybody's interested in a VR music game. I would probably recommend Synth Riders over Beat Saber. No, not probably. I would recommend Synth Riders over Beat Saber. The only exception to this is the built-in songs. The songs that ship with the game are, in my personal opinion, not as good. Um, that doesn't mean that they're not good, but just like, and also depending on your taste in music, like Synth Riders is obviously like very like electronic-y music type stuff. Hence the synth. And so like if that's your thing, like you'll probably love the built-in songs there. Um, but like that's my only complaint, honestly, is just like that and the UI is like not great. Like finding songs that I own because they mix all the songs together, so it's really annoying to find songs I own that aren't DLC. Um, but like other than those two things, like I just the game I think is just better than Beat Saber. So, anyways, that was my shout out, my plug for that game because I thought the AR mode was super fucking cool. Like it was so cool. It's so dumb. It's so stupid, but it's so cool, and I just love that it's a thing. That's all I got. You should watch a video.
I recommend. All right, your brother's gonna kill you.
Nah. Yeah. Any last words though?
Nah, I think we can wrap it there.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you everybody for listening and catch us next week. Bye.